Have you ever wondered if there's a secret language to connecting with people?
Yeah.
Like unlocking doors in your career
Mhm.
or just making life a little smoother? What if I told you there are, fundamental principles that, once you get them, can really change your interactions forever?
Welcome, everyone, to the Gist Gab podcast. We're really glad you could join us today.
Yeah, definitely. We've been thinking a lot about this book, Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Hmm.
It's just incredible how relevant it still feels. I mean, it was first published way back in 1936, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
then revised by his daughter Donna later on. But the core ideas, they've just endured.
They really have. Its principles have, genuinely transformed lives for decades. It's quite something.
It is. And Dale Carnegie himself, he had quite the story, born into poverty, Missouri farm, I think. But
Yeah.
he rose to become this incredibly influential writer and lecturer, founded his own institute, coached thousands. And his whole focus was really on personal interaction, wasn't it? Like how changing your own reactions can influence others.
That's exactly it. And that's what we want to unpack today. This isn't just dry theory. The book is packed with uh, practical advice and lots of engaging stories, which I really like. It's all about equipping you, the listener, to, navigate social stuff better, build real connections.
Yeah.
For personal life, for work, all of it. So we thought we'd break down the core principles section by section, starting with the fundamental techniques in handling people. Okay, so first up, this big one. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Carnegie basically says criticism is, pretty much futile. It just makes people defensive. He tells that intense story of Two Gun Crowley,
Oh, yeah.
this killer, right, who still saw himself as, a good person underneath it all. Misunderstood.
It's a really stark example. If even someone like that rationalizes terrible things, what chance does casual criticism have?
Exactly. It just doesn't work. It breeds resentment, defensiveness.
Right. Because deep down, most people think they're justified, whatever they've done. So Carnegie says, forget condemnation. Try appreciation. Try understanding. Look at Abraham Lincoln. Apparently, he used to be pretty critical early on. But he learned the hard way, through some rough experience, that understanding someone's viewpoint, even if you totally disagree, is way more effective than attacking them. Or that example of the safety coordinator, instead of yelling about hard hats.
Right. He just asked if they were comfortable, explained why they mattered.
Yeah. And it worked much better. You can't force change, but you can create an environment where people want to change.
That makes so much sense. And it ties right into the next principle, doesn't it? Which is give honest and sincere appreciation.
It does, because, Carnegie argues, the real key to influencing people is understanding what drives them, what they desire. And so often, that comes down to a really basic human need, the need to feel important, significant. When you genuinely get that and you offer authentic recognition, not just empty flattery, but real appreciation, people respond, it builds goodwill.
Yeah, the Charles Schwab example is perfect for this. The steel guy. He was all about encouragement and appreciation for his team.
Yeah.
He had that famous quote, didn't he? The deepest principle in human nature is the craving to be appreciated.
That's the one.
And he found it worked wonders for performance, way better than criticism. It really makes you think, doesn't it? Appreciation isn't just like a nice to have. It's a serious motivator. Okay, so the third fundamental technique. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Carnegie uses that fishing metaphor,
Yeah.
about baiting the hook to suit the fish, not yourself.
Right.
He says, he who can do this has the whole world with him. He who cannot walks a lonely way. Powerful stuff.
It's a really profound shift in perspective. It's not about what you want. It's about figuring out what they want, putting yourself in their shoes. What are their needs, their interests, their problems? When you frame things from their angle, cooperation just happens more naturally. It becomes collaborative, not manipulative. It builds this positive cycle.
Okay, so those are the fundamentals of handling people, shifting our own approach first. Makes sense. But then how do you actually get people to, genuinely like you?
Right.
Build that rapport. That's the next section. And the first principle here is huge. Become genuinely interested in other people. Carnegie really hammers this home. Making friends isn't about trying to impress people. That usually backfires, right? He uses the example of dogs. They're just pure, unadulterated joy in seeing you. People respond to that genuine interest. He's got that quote. You can make more friends in 2 months by becoming genuinely interested in other people than you can in 2 years by trying to get other people interested in you. That's quite a claim.
It really is. And, psychologists like Alfred Adler said something similar, that people who aren't interested in others tend to have the most difficulties in life. But it's interesting, too. While that genuine interest is absolutely key, some social psychology research adds maybe a layer of complexity.
How so?
Well, things like reciprocal altruism. Like, sometimes we're nice, partly because subconsciously, maybe, we hope for something back later. Self-interest can play a subtle role. So Carnegie's focus on prioritizing the other person is powerful, definitely. But it's maybe worth reflecting on how purely selfless our interactions always are. Gets you thinking, right?
It does. A good reality check.
Yeah.
But staying with Carnegie's main thread, the next one is so simple, almost deceptively so. Smile.
Yeah, sounds basic. But he argues a smile does so much heavy lifting. It signals warmth, openness, more than nice clothes sometimes.
Right.
He even says if you don't feel like smiling, force yourself. Apparently, the act itself can change your mood. And studies do show smiling helps interactions go better, creates a better vibe for building relationships. It's a small thing with big impact.
And connecting to that feeling of being valued, the next one. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. Just using someone's name, it shows. You see them. People like Jim Farley, the political guy, or Andrew Carnegie himself, they knew the power of remembering names. Makes people feel important, respected.
Absolutely. Then there's be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. And this isn't just, waiting quietly for your turn to jump in. It's active, listening, showing real respect. Apparently, Sigmund Freud was an amazing listener. Think about his whole profession, right? It shows the power of just letting people talk, making them feel heard. People love talking about themselves if you give them a chance.
So true. And building on that listening point, talk in terms of the other person's interest. Don't just talk about what you find fascinating. Find out what they care about. Theodore Roosevelt apparently did this all the time. He'd study up on his guests' interests before they arrived so he could actually connect with them on their level. Imagine that.
That's dedication. And it all circles back to the final point in this section. Make the other person feel important and do it sincerely. It underlines that core human need again. Sincere appreciation, making people feel genuinely valued. It boosts their self-esteem, builds massive goodwill. His simple rule, always make the other person feel important. Not manipulation, just basic human decency and understanding.
Okay, so we've covered handling people generally and then making them actually like you. Now, what about persuasion? How do you win people over to your way of thinking without, causing a big fight? That's the next challenge Carnegie tackles. And his first principle here is probably one of his most famous, maybe hardest to live by. You can't win an argument.
Ah, yes, the classic.
He tells a story about himself learning this lesson. Arguing just doesn't convince people. It usually just makes them defensive and resentful, even if you technically win the point. His conclusion, the only way to get the best of an argument is to avoid it. Easier said than done, right?
Oh, absolutely. It sounds so logical until you're actually in it, feeling that urge to prove someone wrong. So instead, he suggests, show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say, you're wrong. Just acknowledging they have a different view, maybe even saying you might be wrong, it opens the door for cooperation. It's less confrontational.
And related to that, if you are wrong, admit it. Quickly and emphatically, he says. Just owning your mistake, it's disarming. People respect it, usually. It can actually strengthen a relationship, weirdly enough.
Totally. And there are other great tactics in this part, too, like starting in a friendly way, just setting a positive tone from the outset, or getting the other person to say yes, yes, right away. Building that small agreement, it's clever.
Yeah, finding common ground first.
Letting the other person do most of the talking is another one. Trying honestly to see things from their point of view, appealing to nobler motives, even dramatizing your ideas. Lots of practical stuff.
Okay, so that brings us to the final section. This is about leadership. Be a leader, how to change people without giving offense or arousing resentment. Really crucial for managers, parents, anyone guiding others. And the first principle echoes earlier ones. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. Start positive. Cushion the criticism. Makes it much easier to swallow. People like Lincoln and Coolidge apparently knew this well.
Right, and then call attention to people's mistakes indirectly. That Charles Schwab story again with the cigars instead of a telling off for smoking under the sign.
Yeah, brilliant.
It's just a masterclass in subtlety. It gets the message across without shaming anyone. How often do we just jump to direct confrontation when a softer approach might work better?
So true. Next, talk about your own mistakes first.
Again, humility. Carnegie mentions talking to his niece, starting by sharing his own screw-ups before pointing out hers. It levels the playing field, makes feedback feel less like an attack. Definitely. And then ask questions instead of giving direct orders. This is about empowerment, right? Asking, how could we fix this instead of do this? It gets people involved, thinking, taking ownership. Much more collaborative.
And crucial for maintaining relationships. Let the other person save face. Nobody likes being embarrassed or put down, especially publicly. That General Electric example with Steinmetz reassigning him respectfully, it preserved his dignity and kept his loyalty. Smart leadership.
Very smart. Then there's praise the slightest improvement and praise every improvement. Be generous with praise, especially for effort. It builds confidence, motivates people to keep trying. Like that story of Clarence Serhusen encouraging his son's small steps. Makes a huge difference.
Yeah, positive reinforcement. And related, give the other person a fine reputation to live up to. Basically, tell someone you see potential in them, assign them positive traits. Like that teacher, Mrs. Hopkins, calling the difficult kid Tommy a natural leader. He started acting like one. It taps into that desire to meet positive expectations.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, in a good way. Then use encouragement. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Don't make challenges seem insurmountable. Frame mistakes as learnable things, like telling the guy struggling with dancing he just needed a bit more practice. Makes people willing to try because it feels doable.
Yeah, breaks down the fear barrier.
Yeah.
And the last one, make the other person happy about doing the thing you suggest. Frame requests so the other person sees the benefit, make them feel important in the process. Like how Colonel House got William Jennings Bryan excited about that emissary role by highlighting why he was the perfect man for it.
Exactly. So when you pull it all together, Carnegie's message is really about, well, understanding people, empathy, valuing others sincerely. Those are the keys to connection and influence. And it always starts with changing your own approach, your own reactions. It's not about tricks. It's about genuine shifts in how you interact.
So here's a thought to leave you with. In our world today, with so much digital connection, so much noise, maybe even more polarization, are these really timeless principles of just basic human interaction actually more important now than ever? How could applying maybe just one of these ideas, maybe listening better, maybe showing a bit more appreciation, maybe avoiding that argument, how could that shift things in your own relationships starting today? Thanks so much for joining us today on the Gist Gab podcast.
Yeah, thanks everyone. We hope this gives you some interesting things to think about and maybe even try out.